Hi, this is North County PC Solutions, and today we're going to be building a virtual machine. Uh, what this means is that you're not actually using any new hardware to build a machine. It's actually a virtual machine that's going to be built within your machine. It's like having a second computer, and you can just click on it on your desktop. Um, it's really neat because with the virtual machine, there's all kinds of different operating systems that you can install with VirtualBox. This here is a free download, by the way, by Oracle. It's a really neat program. You can do Mac OS, some forms of Android, you can do Linux, multiple forms of Linux, and you can also do multiple forms of Windows with it. This can be really handy for programmers that are even administrators that want to try things out on the computers, but they don't want to mess up the computer. They can set up a virtual machine with a similar environment to see how it responds. The other thing this is really neat for is for teaching people. A lot of times people are kind of afraid they're going to mess up their computer, so there's a lot of things they're kind of afraid to mess with. What this does is it creates a safe environment to do anything you want with the computer and kind of see what will happen. Uh, it, since it is virtual, it runs as a computer within a computer, so you'll still have your own your regular desktop and stuff in the background, and it'll have its own virtual hard drive, which means it has a you partition the hard drive into you can make a little small partition, and this will all run just within that. It won't actually affect any of your folders or directories outside of its own virtual drive. So having said that, we're going to go ahead and try to build one here. Note that on mine, it made me go into my BIOS and turn on my virtualization. So I think actually the older versions of VirtualBox were a little less quirky than the new one, to be honest. We're going to go ahead and try to do this though. The downloading is pretty easy. You can get it from cnet.com. Type in VirtualBox all in one word, and that's how I got it. The install is easy on it too. I forgot to mention that. It pretty much installs itself. It's very intuitive. It'll detect your drivers and stuff, and basically you just tell it yes, yes, yes. I want to use that driver, and you'll next thing you know, it'll build your machine for you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that one. Okay, so we're gonna start with a fresh one here. Okay, so we're gonna click New, and I'm just gonna call this Sandbox. What a sandbox is when you create a virtual machine for people just to experiment with and stuff, and it creates an environment where it's safe. They won't hurt their real machine and stuff. And you can see there's Linux, Solaris, BSD, even Macintosh, and other. There's a lot of choices here. And we're going to go down to Windows 7, 64-bit. And we're going to allocate some memory to this. I have 16 gigs of RAM in here, and we're going to allocate 4 of those gigs just to the virtual machine. Okay, and there's different types of ways you can configure the drive, but I recommend creating your own virtual drive for this machine. And the reason being, you can set the size and type of the hard drive, which is really nice to do. Okay, we're going to go with the VDI because that's the standard virtual drive that VirtualBox uses. And since that's the program we're using to make our machine, we'll go ahead and do that. Dynamic, it means that you start with a hard drive size, and then if you need a bigger hard drive later, it can expand itself for you automatically. So if you add more software and it needs to expand your hard drive, make it bigger, it'll do it. I don't really like to do that. Fixed may take a little longer, and it fixes the size of your drive, but I give it enough. I give it a wide enough berth, say 50 gigs, so that I can do my experiments without worrying about the drive getting too loaded. Okay, and 25 gigs looks like is the minimum for this. We're going to go to about 50. Create the drive, and this will take a couple moments. Right now it's formatting a little section of your actual C drive, and it's going to allocate that space for your virtual computer. Everything for your operating system or anything that you install into this machine will go into this little drive. One of the things that's probably worth mentioning too is that when you're using VirtualBox and you create one of these virtual drives, you can actually copy that entire system onto a backup drive just with a drag and a drop, which is really neat. And you can see there it's still got 11 minutes. So okay, now that the hard drive has been created, you can go ahead and confirm it by checking down here. We named our virtual machine Sandbox, and this here's VirtualBox VDI. This is the virtual drive right here, this extension VDI, and it's at about 50 gigs roughly, just like we wanted. And this here talks about the memory and stuff, and we don't have remote desktop on. We'll let you know a little bit about the system we're going to install. And here we allocated the 4 gigs of RAM. I'm running 16, but I want to keep this down a little bit. Okay, so before we go to install Windows on this virtual machine, we have to do a few more settings to it. So I'm going to go to Settings, and really quick, I'd like to take a look at the system, make sure the processor, okay, that's all set, good. Acceleration, you got to make sure that these are enabled on this machine for whatever reason. It wants you to have an actual virtualization setting. Storage, okay. This IDE one is our CD-ROM where we're going to be pulling the operating system off of. The SATA one, Sandbox VDI, is our virtual hard drive. Now here's something that's kind of neat to know. There's different settings here, bridge mode, internal network, host only adapter. For our purposes, we're going to use NAT because it can emulate other types of adapters, and it kind of takes care of itself. If you put it in bridge mode or other settings, it can get really tricky getting your network card to work, so you won't be able to reach out to the internet. So it's a good idea to keep it on NAT. And I'm pretty sure these are all good to go here. So I'm going to hit OK. Now we're going to try to actually run this and install the operating system. So double click there. Host drive D, yeah, that's our CD-ROM where we're going to be getting Windows from. And hopefully it took this time. I'm just going to hit OK. And Windows looks like it's actually installing, so looks like we're going to be good to go here. Just like if you were to install Windows on an actual hardware machine, it is a little bit time consuming, so just kind of bear with me here. This here is just saying that it wants to integrate the mouse pointer into the virtual machine. Otherwise, you won't have any way of navigating around inside it. And you can just hit OK. I leave the reminder on for myself. This is just a regular install of Windows 7. I'm going to tell it in English. And we're going to do... Okay, install now. User agreement. Okay, now here we're going to do a custom advanced install because we don't want to accidentally overwrite your real computer on your C drive. So we're going to tell it, okay, use it to the, this is the virtual drive we created right here, the 51 gig one. So hit next. That's important to remember. Don't put it on your actual C drive and erase your real machine. Okay, Windows has finally got finished installing, so we got the recorder back on here, and we're going to go ahead and see what happens. After it installed, it restarted the machine like it would normally, but when it restarts the machine, it only restarts the virtual machine. Your real one never actually shuts down, which is kind of cool. You kind of get to see what's happening there. And here's the final leg of the install right here. After this, we'll have to go through your standard setup things like setting your time zone and giving it a username and stuff like that. So you can see as it restarts, it doesn't actually restart your physical hardware, it just restarts the virtual machine. And just as if you were installing a fresh copy on your real computer, it's going to do a check for all your drivers and stuff, and it'll import that all into VirtualBox by itself for your virtual machine, and it'll ask you some stuff here, and we're just going to go ncps sandbox. Whoop, typo. We'll skip the password for now. Okay, and then once you install the product key, you'll be on to the next step. After you finish installing your key code to your operating system, you come to this screen here, and updates can take quite a while. So for an initial install, I skip that till later. And then your time zone, that looks appropriate, and the date. You can change that right here and right here. And then we're going to just set this to a simple home network. I'm not going to worry about setting it to public. Okay, and as you can see here, other than being inside a smaller box, it looks identical to installing Windows on a regular computer. And there you have it. You have a virtual machine inside your regular machine. You've got all your stuff here. You've got your all your regular Windows stuff. Only if you go to your drive, you'll notice it calls it the C drive. It's actually not, but it's a virtual C drive. And there you go. You got a separate set of profile information in there. Computer inside a computer. Let's see if we can scale this for you. Well, we'll leave it there for now. Okay. Now the trickiest part with these is usually getting the network to work. So let's see if we got that right on the first try. Doesn't seem to be complaining at all. And we got right online. Fantastic. Sometimes that doesn't necessarily happen, and you have to play with your network cards a little bit. Okay, so here's what you have. You have basically a sandbox to go around and goof off all you want. If you mess it up, no harm, no foul. It's a full-on machine within your machine. There's one more thing you should do though. When you close it out, make sure that you save the entire system state so that you don't lose. Otherwise, I've seen it sometimes, it forgets that you have an operating system installed and you have to redo all of that work. So we'll save it at that point. It closed out. Now here's the really cool thing about virtual machines. I want to back this up because if I do mess it up, I don't want to have to build another virtual machine because it is rather time consuming. But if you just right click, clone, and then we're going to tell it to call it, actually sandbox clone is fine. Next. And we're going to select full. We want to grab every feature and option setting that the other one has. So clone. Okay. Now this part here, it's actually setting another VDI drive and stuff, and it's copying a lot of stuff over, so it's kind of time consuming. But I think I'm going to leave the video here at this point. But as you can see, it's really not that hard to set up a virtual machine. This is North County PC Solutions. If you have any questions, you can contact us from our website. You can email us, give us a jingle, or you can see other tutorials on YouTube.